everybody, it's another Undead 13 video. It's a review video this time for a band called Skeletal or Skeletal Crew, and it's an album of theirs called Frankenstyle. You might notice my eyes keep darting like this. It's because I'm reading my notes because the camera is here, but I've got my phone sort of plopped on my laptop at a funny angle. I'm sat on my bed with the camera sideways and my laptop huddled over. I'm just at a really unflattering, horrible angle, but it's the only way I could work out how to get myself in the shot and be able to see the notes that I made on the album at the same time. It's quite a lot to remember because I actually listened to it yesterday, not today, so it's not fresh in my memory. One thing I wanted to say first is the name of the band. Now, I pronounce that word skeletal, as in your muscular skeletal system, which is your skeleton. So I say Skeletal Crew. Yeah, there's something nagging in the back of my mind that makes me think people might pronounce that word skeletal, like Skeletal Crew. Is that a thing? Skeletal Crew? Is skeletal a word? A skeletal system? Skeletal? I've always said skeletal. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. Anyway, that's besides the point. So, the first track on the album, song called Ain't Bad to Be Dead. It's the real shock rock style of horror punk that we love. So we're talking the Wednesday 13 sort of style, the I'll Be Damned style, the Flirting with Corpses style, to a degree the Gorgeous Morgue style that we know and that we love. Now, I think this sounds like Wednesday 13, but there's definitely loads of Gunshot 76 influences in there. It's got a real glam vibe to it, in my opinion. A lot of people might not necessarily get that, but I got a glam metal vibe from it. Yeah, I don't think that's what they were going for, but I took that from that. I'm going to move the camera because all I can see is Jupiter. Jupiter is the name for my double chin. It's huge, and all I can see is my big fat double chin, so I'm going to move the camera where I don't look like a twat. Okay, from there maybe. That's better. Oh, I've still got a big moon face, haven't I? Maybe here. Okay. Yeah, that's better. Cool. So, started off really good, that Wednesday 13-y horror punk sound, which we know and which we love. Ticked all the boxes off the get-go. Now, next track goes into Motherfucker in Me. Continues very much in the same vein, slightly more sleazy sounding than the track before. Again, I'm getting like really heavy, dark, like twisted glam metal from this. I don't know if that's what they were going for. To me, I think they were going for like a Wednesday 13-y kind of sound. But I was getting glam metal from it for some reason. I don't know why, I don't know how, but that's what I was getting. Which was a good thing. I enjoyed it very much. The second track, sleazy sounding. It almost sounded a little bit like Animal in Me by Motley Crue, is what I took from it. And it had a little bit of a Saints of Los Angeles vibe to it, but it's a bit heavier than that. So it's a bit more dark and obviously horror infused than that. I'm going to try and get this camera at an angle that doesn't make you all feel seasick. Private Hell was the next track on the album. Now this one took like a bit of a twist. It went in a different direction. It sounded to me more like Clutch, or a little bit like Orange Goblin sort of twist to it. Almost like a biker metal, like a stoner vibe to it. Really weird, like a thrashy sound to the music, a heavy thrash, almost akin to Spiritual Beggars, but with the horror undertones going on there. Really, really cool sound to it. That led quite nicely into the fourth track on the album, which was Rotten Valentine. Really, really liked this track a lot. Sorry. Oh, that's gross. Yeah, it's again going back to that Wednesday 13 sound that we know and that we love. An I'll Be Damned sort of atmosphere to the song, which is again a good thing. We like I'll Be Damned. We like Wednesday 13. Nothing wrong with that. It was good. From that track, I got that they would sound fantastic supporting Flirting with Corpses. For those of you who know Flirting with Corpses, wearing their t-shirt today. Now, Flirting with Corpses are a fantastic band, a horror band, a horror metal band from Nottingham, but they don't have any music out. They've got like one lyric video. They haven't got an EP. They haven't got an album out, but they've got about a dozen fantastic tracks that are really fucking catchy. But the only way you'll know them is if you go and see them live. So go and watch Flirting with Corpses live. They're really cool, and I think that this band, Skeletal Crew, would very much sound perfect supporting them. Because of that atmosphere, that Wednesday 13 sound to what they do. Now, the Rotten Valentine, it tells a really cool story. I like a song that plays out a story and that submerses you in this world that it's telling you. And I like that. It had a mise en scene of its own. It was a really cool little song. Really, really catchy riff as well, which is always a bonus. I'm a big metalhead at heart, so catchy riffs are always a plus. And dual vocals as well. Pleasant surprise, lovely. The next track, the 5th track on the album, was Frankenstyle, which is the name of the album as well. It's the name of the album as well. So it's the title track on the album. It's a textbook horror punk lyrics. You know, we all know horror punk lyrics, what they're going to sound like, the theme of the song and what it's about, and it's exactly that. It's horror. It's what it should be at the end of the day. Really, really good song. Again, this time though, there are these baritone sort of almost typo negative style vocals that just catch you out of the blue, and I really wish there was more of that on this album, because I love my deep, dark baritone vocals, my Danzig, my Elvis Presley, my Johnny Cash, my Pete Steele, my Yikri 69. I love all of that. That's my style of music, and yeah, it hit the spot on this track really, really well. Good. Now, it's very reminiscent of The Fright, this track, which is a good thing because we love The Fright. Again, similar to Wednesday. I only listened to this song again just before I started filming to refresh my memory on what the band sounded like, because I listened to this yesterday. I'm reading notes. And this time I'm listening to the song, I thought the iambic pentameter, so by that what I mean is the rhythm of the song, the pentameter, the rhythm, the you know, the flow of it, was akin to B-Movie Scream Queen by Wednesday 13. I don't know if that was a deliberate thing by the band, or if I was just listening out for it and I heard it because I wanted to hear it, or I don't really know, because I didn't hear it the first time, but the second time I heard it and I was like, oh wow, that's the same flow as that song. And when I listened to it again, I heard it again. So definitely there's a Wednesday 13 undertone to that song, but with baritone vocals, which is always a winner. And the last track on the album, which I think is the 6th one unless I've counted wrong, is Ratman, and the baritone vocals are back. Brilliant surprise, that's always good. Surprisingly though, this morphs into like a bounding heavy metal tune. Awesome, you know, completely out of the blue, heavy as fuck. I don't know who or what Ratman is, but I feel like they've painted a really good picture, a really vibrant picture of who Ratman is, and I want to go for a pint with him. It's just got another really catchy riff in this song. The gang vocals in this track will sound fantastic live as well. So to wrap it up, this album, Frankenstyle by Skeletal Crew, it's nothing that's not been done before in terms of what's there. Mixes things that haven't necessarily been mixed that much before. You don't always get thrashiness with the baritone, with the Wednesday 13 all on one album, so that was cool to see that amalgamated well together. It's not necessarily a bad thing sticking to those things, because hell, it's horror punk, it's horror music, you have to stick to the winning formula to a certain degree. They've done that really well here. If you like I'll Be Damned, or Flirting with Corpses, or that style of horror punk, I call it the Alice Cooper style because of the snarly vocals. Mr. Monster calls it the shock rock style, you know, the Wednesday 13 style of horror music. If you like that, then you'll love these. It's really easy listening, shock rock incarnation of horror music is what we know and we love. Not quite as heavy as Flirting with Corpses, but it doesn't need to be. So going for a much more metal sound than what this is. Again, so I recommend this to anyone that's into that Wednesday 13 kind of stuff, or the I'll Be Damned kind of stuff. And again, the album is called Frankenstyle. and it's by Skeletal Crew, or Skeletal Crew, if that's even a word. Skeletal, 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 skeletal. It's skeletal, isn't it? It's skeletal, Skeletal Crew. I've had food in my teeth this whole time. Never mind. So that was my thoughts. Like I said, I listened to the album once and then a couple of tracks again just now, just to refresh my memory, and that's my instant response to the album. Again, I listened to it yesterday and I'm reading notes which were my instant response. I'm reading my instant response to this album. Really recommend it. Again, yeah, it ticks all the boxes, absolutely.